Maria. I don't see her really, but
Hi. I'm a recovered alcoholic. My name is Maria, celebrating 4 years of sobriety today.
oh, great. Well, congratulations. Yes,
Thank
very good.
you.
Well, Maria, just if this is your first time here, the platform is based on a recognition of a sentence or two on page 64 of the big book, leading to the inventory process, which it starts with the condition being convinced, and then what we're being convinced about or of is self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us, and emphasizing the difference between self and us. Yeah. When we're convinced of this, we will now look at its, meaning self's common manifestations in our life, not self's life, but our life. And the next thing it leaps to is the next paragraph is resentment. So how we read this is resentment is a manifestation of self in our life. It's not our manifestation, it's self's manifestation. So render unto Caesar's what's Caesar's. And this is where I found a great relief when I saw self as other than me. Doesn't matter if it's a part of you or not you or whatever. I don't believe so. What matters is relief from it, relief from its effects. So how it worked with me was seeing it as other than me. And that opened up a possibility that I could be free from it. And when that became available, it also showed me the handcuffing of self, which is I had been trying to be free as self for quite a while in recovery and before recovery. It was big news for me, but it never changed after that point. And then, so it just was sort of like, you think you may have a basis that's pretty sound, but this is like a cement additive, so to speak. It really cemented the condition that the problem does not exist for us anymore. So that's what we do here. We just support that idea and to entertain it, and basically, if it works, let it work. Yeah. So there you go. So all right, Mickey. So it's on page 64, around the third paragraph, the sentence is in there. If you read it, I don't see how you can see self as you when it's clearly separates self as and us, and we are in the us camp, and we have been defeated by the self camp, so to speak. Yes. Yeah. All right. Thanks. All right, Mick.
Thanks, Paul. A good explanation about our common direction in this thought camp. Let's go to the faith issue and begin our reading on page 53 of the big book. Arrived at this point, we were squarely confronted with the question of faith. We couldn't duck the issue. Some of us had already walked far over the bridge of reason towards the desired shore of faith. The outlines and promise of the new land had brought luster to tired eyes and fresh courage to flagging spirits. Friendly hands had stretched out in welcome. We were grateful that reason had brought us so far, but somehow we couldn't quite step ashore. Perhaps we had been leaning too heavily on reason that last mile and did not like to lose our support. That was natural. But let us think a little more closely. Without knowing it, had we not been brought to where we stood by a certain kind of faith? For did we not believe in our own reasoning? Did we not have confidence in our ability to think? What was that but a sort of faith? Yes, we had been faithful, abjectly faithful to the God of reason. So in one way or another, we discovered that faith had been involved all the time. We found too that we had been worshipers. What a state of mental goose flesh that used to bring on. Had we not variously worshipped people, sentiment, things, money, and ourselves? And then, with a better motive, had we not worshipfully beheld the sunset, the sea, or a flower? Who of us have not loved somebody or something or somebody? How much did these feelings, these loves, these worships have to do with pure reason? Little or nothing. We saw at last. Were not these things the tissue out of which our lives were constructed? Did not these feelings, after all, determine the course of our existence? It was impossible to say we had no capacity for faith or love or worship. In one form or another, we had been living by faith and little else. Ta-da!
Thanks, Mickey. Yeah, this is one of my favorite parts of the book because it gives you their take on why things are the way they are, basically. And usually this take will dispute why you think things are the way they are. And you'll realize you've had faith in a failed system, and its outlook and its where it arrives at its conclusions about your life are erroneous. Yeah. It's just that simple. So talk about being misguided, misdirected, because we're going to be guided and directed, just like we're going to be driven, but it's what is going to be the driver is going to be the biggest effect of this life of being driven. Yeah. What is going to guide us is going to be the biggest effect of a life guided. Yeah. So, and this is just attempting to point out almost there's two ways. There can be an interpretation of life from the head that's lived, or there can be the living of the life along with an interpretation from the head. Yes? The interpretation from the head tries to blot out the living of the life, but the living of the life includes the interpretation of the head. But maybe that interpretation, not taken so seriously, can be sort of like Comedy Central instead of a misinformed CNN, so to speak. So you may find great laughter based on your crazy way you think and see shit when it's not you're not your way of thinking and seeing. Yeah. When you're thinking and seeing that way, it's taken quite seriously, obviously. As presented in the third step where it says, you'll lose interest in self and in your little plans and designs. Who believes when they're thinking about their plans and designs that they're little? I'm sure your little plans and designs today seem to be the most important plans and designs of all the planning and designing. So this is just a worshiping, yes? A worshiping who's talking about its incredible plans and designs. It's just, yeah. It's a beautiful way of putting it. So he goes on and on and on. And, you know, man, AA, these people bent over backwards to allow anyone to come in. Yeah, they just put it so nicely. Yeah, oh, it's okay. They just want us to get in here, because if you just do what we do, not think like you think, but do what we do, you're going to get relief from that thingdom, the thinkdom that we're in. We are. So, and this idea of faith, obviously, it's not a religion. Faith can take a that can be found in a vehicle called religion, but it's not the religion. It's not a faith. It's faith, like a force. Yeah, just like gravity and stuff. And if you look at, don't like to bring out particular people, but if you look at the teachings of Jesus, when all this healing was going on, he was always looking at the person saying, hey, it's done according to your faith. Yeah. So basically, he could have been describing their whole day. Yeah. Hey, it's done according to your faith. The healing, the non-healing, the illness, the whatever. It's always done according to your faith. As you believe, so it is. Yeah. So the power that we represent, that's being directed, you know, just to get a sense of the AWE of the power that we represent, and then realizing the craziness that has been directing it. Yeah, that this life would be better off if it was put into different hands. Yeah, so this really, really just makes that the door of the third step so fucking appealing, because, man, if your head is directed the wrong way, you're going to be in hell in a lot of ways. Yeah. If it's directed another way, you may be living in heaven. Who knows? So the power that we are is undisputable. It's what directs it is going to cause the effect. And he's basically saying, hey, you've ridden this dead horse long enough. Perhaps there's been a horse all the while, unbeknownst to you. Yeah. And by living free from the bondage of self, you'll be living more of this faith or this feeling or this intuition or this sense of knowing, yeah, what's right and wrong and shit like that. And it's just truly a great shift from an old basis to a new basis. Yeah. Now, the new basis has always been there. The basis we were worshiping was built on the ground of the basis, the new basis. Yeah. Now we do this program to have all those temples, the worshiping of reason and shit, broken down. So there's the temple already. Yeah. The old basis is already readily available without us knowing it. The unsuspected inner resource. There was a great example of this. If you ever go to Istanbul, there's a famous church there. But for hundreds and hundreds of years, this church was a mosque. Yeah. And they were cleaning the mosque, and they had all these tiles, and some of the tiles fell down. And there were underneath the tiles were another set of tiles. And they started taking the new set of tiles off, and it was a first century Christian church. Yeah. For hundreds and hundreds of years, they had no idea until there was some investigation or cleaning, which is what the program is. And then what was unearthed was this true basis of living, relying on something greater than ourselves. Yeah. But for hundreds and hundreds of years, they call it the Sophia now. It must have blown their minds, right? They were so sure, hey, they might have looked at 800 things and doubted there was not 799 things, but they did not doubt that this was a mosque. Yeah. They just did not doubt it. This is a mosque. It's been 1,600 years a mosque. And then suddenly, all the while, it was a Christian church underneath it. Not meaning the importance of mosque or church, but the example, yes? So this is not, the new basis isn't like the old basis. The new basis is sound. It's already a true foundation. It's just some shit has been built on it, yeah? By this disease. The disease has us loving and worshiping its own idol. Yeah. This idea of you or the self-centeredness. So like when Saint Francis says, it's in self-forgetting that you're reborn. Exactly. What is this process of recovery? It's a process of losing interest in self. Yeah. That's the pivot point. Look on page in the third step. The whole thing pivots on losing interest in self. Then you're going to gain interest in others and see what you can contribute to life. There's just a cascade of effects. Once there's a loss of interest in self, that's not available when there's an interest in self to the extreme levels that we seem to be interested in self. Yeah. So self can't lose interest in self. We need to put ourselves into a program or a way of living or a design for living, many of us. And by doing so and taking on these suggestions and letting them to become habits, we're going to access that unsuspected inner resource. We're going to recognize a new freedom and a new happiness. Yeah. And a new attitude and a new outlook. Have you had that effect occur in your life? Probably, I have. You're sitting there, Mickey says she has. A lot of us have gone under it. It's not it's a miracle, but it's a miracle that is easily described. It starts with, you're fucked, yeah? The admittance of that, you're not managerial quality, and there you go, yeah? Wouldn't you rather learn from others than yourself? You go to meetings and you hear people speak from alcoholism and you see the surrounding effects it's causing. Do you want that? Of course not. You don't want it for them, and you definitely don't want it for you. Yeah. Hopefully there's no hopefully, there is a solution. Hopefully you're in the act of allowing it to affect us. Yeah. I hope, and I hope these meetings will support that. That's the humble aspiration we have here. Yeah. Because if you don't recognize the exact nature of the wrong, you may be living as the exact nature of the wrong. Without knowing it, as it says in the book quite a lot, without knowing it. Yeah. Don't you think it's surprising that the person who is suffering for alcoholism seems to be the last one to know or to admit it? That seems to be a strange quality. And you'll see that quality. The person is extremely self-centered, but they don't think so. Yeah. You see this quality of being like out to lunch based on being taken over by the disease. Yeah. The parasitical movement does want the host to be informed and having knowledge of self. It doesn't, yes? Because the host may get a crazy idea, I'm not self. And then what can happen? You can be free from it. Instead of being bound to the idea of trying to be free as it. How many times did I shoot cocaine trying to be free as self? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. To the point where I didn't give a shit if I woke up. I didn't. I was actually leaning towards overdosing. Yeah. You know, the way self looks at it, freedom from self is going to look incredible. It's going to be like Armageddon. You know what I mean? Go to Peru, overdose on DMT, shit like that. It's not like going home and taking an inventory. Yeah, but really that's what it's like. It's not a big giant, there's a chasm in the earth and self falls in it. No, it's not a big fucking thing where self is the star of its own demise. It's just the loss of interest in it. Yeah. Until it hits a certain point where the chronicness of the condition is not chronic anymore. Yeah. Not chronic. You may show the symptoms occasionally, but you're not coming down with the fucking flu anymore. Yeah. Yes, you haven't drank or used in 36 years. That's fucking amazing. I mean, what more evidence do you need? I don't understand. Whatever, yeah. So, yeah, faith. We have faith in self, and that's what binds us to self. It does. Yeah. Our faith is up to grabs. Yeah. The head has the bigger megaphone. It keeps yapping all day. And we've fallen into a condition where our faith is in something that's not reliable. It's just the way it goes. Yeah. So by seeing the failedness of the system is an incredible revelation, because perhaps there's a better way. Yes, trusting the infinite rather than finite self. So trust is involved either way. Yes. Faith is involved either way. It's either in the finite self or the infinite. Yeah. You can't know the infinite, but you can know the finite self. You can. You can have knowledge of self. Self-knowledge isn't going to avail you much, but knowledge of self is quite good. Yeah. Because you'll see what has defeated you, and it ain't you. Yeah. I'm not spending $800,000 to send self to a fucking high-end rehab. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not spending anything for its rehabilitation. It's been subdued. I'm freed from the fucker. Yeah. I once was with, you don't mind, I'm just riffing, but this was a weird thing. I got a call from a headhunter, and anyone who knows me, just from France, and he had been listening to the talks, and he thought I would be good for this job, to be a program director for this new high-end rehab in Thailand. Yeah, in Chiang Mai. And I used to go to Chiang Mai quite a lot. So I'm saying to him, I go, forget about me being a program director. You know what I mean? But if the people who are doing it want to talk, I'm more than happy. And so they called me a few times, and they were asking me my opinion. I said, man, I'd say you have to really, really emphasize service. Yeah. And so, of course, because they're thinking they're charging like $30,000 a month or something, they go, well, what do you mean? Should we tailor the service to fit the people? I said, fuck that. Yeah. Put the people into the service. Don't fucking tailor the service for the fucking sick person. Put the sick person into service. Yeah. Their whole view was the other way, because they're serving the fucking disease, because the disease is paying a lot of money. This is one of the big problems. Yes. Yeah. So then they didn't call me after that much. Who wants to admit complete defeat after you paid $30,000 for a fucking place? Of course. You're not going to want to, and you don't want them to admit complete defeat. You want them to come to your place. Yeah. Yeah. So, not saying that's always the case, but you see, yeah. So here's the solution. We're hoping that you can see that no matter if it's a part of you, the head thinks it's all of you. I'm just telling you. Yeah. So if you feel like, oh, you can get it to enjoy the kumbaya line and shit, it's gonna bite you on the ass. Yeah. So it worked with me seeing it as foreign. It really did. Seeing it as a parasitical movement without any idea of what the host really is. And then the last 36 years has been finding out what the host is by having the parasite subdued. Yeah. I was finding out about the host through the parasite. That was insane. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you.
And isn't that what the inventory process does, is expose the false identity to be able to reveal the truth?
Well, you would hope so. It has that possibility, but as you can see, us repeating it for years you may need that, because there's a lot of current and momentum in the identification as self. Yeah. For most people, they need to hear it for a while to start getting the idea to sink in. Some people you get whacked, but usually the educational way is the educating one about self as not you. Yeah. So the educational way is knowledge of self. Yeah. So you have knowledge of what has defeated you. So when it's getting ready to defeat you, you may recognize it before the defeat. Yeah. And have it derailed. And then if you get into the habit of that, you can live, learn, you face life successfully, and all this shit can occur. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel that's why we keep repeating the message. Yeah. Does the message need to be repeated? No. But does it need to be repeated? Yes. Because there's a strong current, yeah, that we forget seemingly. Yeah. No.
Well, that's what practicing these principles is. It's repeating. It's practice, practice, practice.
Yes, but just like when you would practice something, after a while you're doing that something.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this isn't like always practice. The practice is necessary until it ain't. Yeah. And then you're living the effects, not applying the effects. Yeah. You're living them. You're in the habit of being sober. Yeah.
And to me, that's when I'm not taking or working the steps. The program is working me.
Yes, definitely. I think working the steps is a preliminary stage. It's not the lifelong condition. The steps are working you most of the
Yeah.
time. Yes? You may need to work the steps, but that's not going to be the lifetime condition. I don't believe. I believe these principles will work you. Yeah. And because you get into a realm of habit, which is an action without thought. Yeah. So as an example, I don't think about going to an AA meeting. I think about which one. So I'm in the habit of going to meetings. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
And a lot of habits are just being out of the habit of doing other shit. I'm out of that habit. Yeah.
Right.
So this is a design for living. It's not a design to practice. It's a design for living. You may need to practice the design for a while, but it's going to become a way of life. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah,
A
to me,
new way of life, not
yeah.
a rehabilitated way of life.
Well, look at a rehabilitated way of life. Some people have gone to 12 rehabs,
Mm-hmm.
Some people have it working that they just go out periodically and then they go in and get cleaned up, and their life is going in and out maybe 4 times a year. But hey, whatever works. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways of life. I like the way of life of abstinence because I've noticed if you give the head an inch, it's going to predict miles and miles and miles of shit. Yeah. So
Yes.
just my own where I sit, I don't have much leeway, which opens up to a broad highway. If I just realize the condition that's here, Yeah, so for me to fucking get mad, I'll probably be in jail. No, really, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I can't say that about everyone else, but I do not have the luxury of getting too angry because shit may happen. It used to. So, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, a life wanting to be right is gonna have a lot of wrong shit in it, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No one made me the referee of life. Yeah, so I'm not calling the fouls. That's not my position. My position is to be of use. Yeah, so here we are. All
And
right.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
What do we have any questions for Paul or any comments, any shares?
I have a comment. So Paul, I asked you to sign these books for a man named John in Germany from Scotland, and he happens to be on this call. So it's John M. if you see him in the box.
Oh, yeah. Oh, great.
This is the guy who's wanted your books, and I'll get them to him.
Oh, great. Oh, so where is?
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome, John. I don't see you. Where are you?
I'm somewhere on the screen somewhere.
Oh, there you are. I know John. Oh, nice to
All
meet
right, cool.
you.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really thankful. Thanks, Heather. That was really sweet.
Well, John
You know,
got
she's lucky. She's lucky. She can turn up in person and sit and listen to you. You know,
John, we need you to say one word. Can you say miracle for us?
a miracle.
Yeah. A miracle. I like how
A
they
miracle.
say miracle. I also like how they say bastard, but I like miracle very much.
You're from New York.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
I think New York people are the only people that can swear with such elegance like the Scots.
That's true. They're not bad. That's why
Yeah.
people took a lot of offense of my using certain things, but they're the best way to emphasize certain stuff. Yeah. Like you're
Yeah.
fucked, different than, oh, I was defeated. No, you're fucked. It has a more comprehensive meaning, I feel. So yeah. 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 Well, nice to see you, John. I'm happy and yeah, I know you. That was a pleasure. I'm happy we
Yeah.
could participate in each other's life. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm deeply appreciative of what you've passed on to me. I've
Oh,
taken some of these ideas and spoken to several people about them. And but more importantly, it's been more influential in my own understanding.
yeah.
That's where it's really hit home the most, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm showing up, you know.
Yeah. 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 Thank you. Yeah, it really yeah, it was a turning point in recovery for me. I was about 7 years when I saw self as foreign. And that's exactly what I needed because I was still in recovery. Obviously, how it could have been seen was self was trying to get out of self, just like everything else it's ever done. It's always been attempting to get out of itself because that's the biggest form of being in self, really, which I had no idea of. I didn't until I did. And it truly, the foreignness of it is the last idea. It was that idea came. I haven't had, that was the most important idea I've ever had about self is that it's foreign. Yeah. Yeah. It just worked because I was just like the thoughts held as your thoughts have so much power. Yes. Like a thought about what's not happening can ruin your day if it's presented as my thought. And so I could see someone being driven crazy by their thoughts and I wasn't being driven crazy, but if I would have held those same thoughts as mine, they would have the ability to drive me crazy. Yeah. That's the movement of faith that a lot of people don't notice, but isn't that a movement of faith represented by the word my? Yeah. A thought is a thought, but my thought is something else, man. My thought can ruin the day. Yeah. Yeah. So you start realizing the playing of a power in your own life or in life itself. You start noticing this stuff. And then when you read it, read certain parts of the book, you see it connects to how your own observations. It just connects completely. Yeah, I knew there was a force that was moving me and moving people. I saw what it was like when it was directed into active addiction, how that faith in the head could bring about a fucking bottom, who could bring about like being a cartographer of a bottom, and just the insanity of the mental anguish and the emotional fucking condition was so thwarted. It was just and faith was the power that produced that all along. Yeah. So I started seeing like a diagram of living, and then if, let's say, you see a diagram and then you see that diagram in action, it's really a different form of knowledge. Yeah. When you get a diagram of something and, oh yeah, I understand that, but you may not understand it when it's moving. So to recognize it's moving, how faith moves you in this life, and faith is going to move you in what the director of your life directs it to. And I've seen what a life directed by self can look like. Yeah. And I keep seeing it. I've lived it. Yeah. And it brought about an incredible conviction of self is what has defeated me. And the faith that now that's being directed by what we call the higher power has brought about a fucking miracle of change in this life and given me just half of my living event now has been directed by this program and the higher power. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. And it was faith all along. Faith is going to make my life. Now, but it's going to be where the faith is put in. And I didn't know the faith had been put into the head. Yeah. I had great faith in the thoughts I was having. I had great faith in my opinions of myself and others. I had great faith. Yeah. And they produced a lot of freaking effects. Now that faith has been put into something greater than self. And I'm luxuriating in their effects. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to know the word peace or comprehend the word peace and know serenity. All these things are going to become a tactile sense feltness of your life, not a conceptual idea of a future condition that you're not in now, but a readily available sense of being satisfied and content at the moment. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, so, and I
You
see,
also said
yeah,
you also said something about the acknowledgement of that.
yes, of course.
Just acknowledging that.
Well, what's worshiping? Worshiping is an acknowledgement. And if there's the act of worshiping the head, then we can be in the act of worshiping the greatness of what is doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. Yes. Yes. So to me, honoring the AWE of this life, honoring it is important, especially in the beginning when you're trying to leave some system and move into another system, and you're getting pulled by the other system, but you're being held by the old system. You better honor the demonstrations of the new system. Yeah. Pledge allegiance to, yeah, I want to go there. Yeah. I want to be on the winning side. Yeah. Yeah. I feel it's important to honor it because the head will forget a miracle in 15 minutes. It will. It will. Yeah, so yeah, you've got to stop and it seems like almost a habit. I mean, you've got to, it's like a practice to stop and smell the roses. Yeah. And then after a while, you're just going to smell the roses. Yeah. So, yes, I really a big believer in honoring the effects of the program, for sure, for sure. And not with a disclaimer, but not with the disclaimer in it, but I could be fucked. No, just honor the effect of the new employer. Yeah, yeah. So
I've
okay.
noticed several people that I know who don't acknowledge it in their recovery. And then when I've spent more attention to how they present themselves and what they say in meetings and places, it is self-will run riot. And it's so blindingly obvious to me now. Whereas it wasn't quite so obvious before. But it's really just selfing non-stop in that regard. Yeah, I know you used that word, and it just peeled a sort of a gloss over my eyes to recognizing it in myself and recognizing it in others. And I loved
Yeah.
when you said that acknowledgement, just to honor that, just to honor that there is something at play beyond just the everyday johnning,
And remember, don't these writing prescriptions for people who don't want your
Take my
just
fingers out of their pie.
just you're not everyone's personal doctor. Yeah.
That's asking for trouble.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah. Whatever. I hope whatever people are doing is working. I really do. But if it isn't, maybe you can look at it and maybe see that there's something going on that is going on without us noticing it. That's all, Yeah. It wasn't for me. I would, being able to go to a picnic and not flip out was good, but it wasn't to my idea of heaven, so to speak. Yeah. I mean, something was a deep irritation, restlessness, and discontent. So, but other people I know were quite happy being on a softball team and going to picnics and stuff like that. And that's fine, whatever works. But that wasn't working for me. So I needed to find something, I had to look a little deeper, or not even, whatever. I just looked, and more was revealed. It doesn't mean it has to be revealed to everyone or in any certain way. Yeah. Yeah. This is just a member's reflections on the program. Yeah, and how things have played out for me. And I feel that they've worked. I don't demand them to work on others for others. I don't. Yeah, yeah. Says no one. Was anyone drafted to come here? Did you get a conscription? Yeah. No. Yeah. It's an open thing. You come in. I figure you're at least a little interested. So let's go. Yeah. If you're not, you don't come back. It's all right. It's fine. Yeah, it's not a draft, Yeah, you have to promise your first baby or something, nothing like that. Yeah, just one member sharing with other members. I just don't see everyone. I don't see I want to outgrow fear. I don't want to manage fear. Yeah. I don't think that's the key, managing the disease. I don't. I think freedom from it is the key. Yeah, I feel that's on the table. I don't want to know every skillful means to use when fear arises. I'd rather not have fear arise. And I think that's a possibility. Yep, I do. I think we can outgrow a lot of the conditions that we used to live from. Outgrow it, just outgrow it. Yeah. And yeah. That's why we're not giving many, you know, we're not having we're not adding like 50 more questions to the inventory. We're not doing anything. I believe the program is sound, perfect. I just feel like it may be helpful if you have a clarity about the exact nature of the role. We're not trying to change the right. We're just wanting to see what's wrong. Yeah, yeah. If it works, great. All right. Well, anyone else? Nice. Thanks, John. Enjoy the books. Yeah.
You know, Paul, I go into we have two prisons, state prisons in our area, and I participate in both of them. And in the prison system, I find that they are really focused on step work and working the program. And this is a great, they month by month they direct their attention to the step corresponding to the month. And so this is really a super time in April, the 4th month, for 4-step work. And the inmates seem to really reciprocate. They really align to this understanding of page 64. It's amazing how it seems like step work was just mechanical for quite a while. And, you know, they read in the 12 and 12. And none of them really got into the big book. And all of a sudden, they're reading the big book and they're examining sentence by sentence and exactly what the big book is directing. And it is really wonderful to watch the light start emanating from it. You know, I was at a meeting last night with about 150 men, and they were all so focused and so directed. It was just a grand experience.
Yeah, great. Well, yeah, look at where something brought them to. So
You bet.
I like the idea when I wish I would have known it, your wording when I got arrested. I was saying, oh, I'd like to decline your invitation to participate in the penal. I like that one. I'm participating with the penal system. Yeah. Yeah. I had amazing things. We used to go to San Quentin, you know, that's the jail prison near here.
Yeah.
I had the great privilege every year, one time a year, all the people who do service at the prison and all the prisoners participating, they'd have like an ice cream and dessert thing, and they'd have a main speaker. And this year I was the main speaker this year I'm talking about. And they had 3 prisoners, participants in the prison, share, and they were all there for vehicular manslaughter. killing people, driving drunk. Yeah. And before I went up there to talk, I was sitting with a man who had like 3 life sentences, and his clarity about self was unbelievable. He truly, now that he maybe it looked like a little too late, but he really got what had fucked him. And he had all this time, and he was quite into the investigation of it because he wasn't going anywhere for the rest of his life. Yeah. But something had driven him to do shit, yeah, that found him in this position of being in prison. And he was making the best of it. I had a really nice talk with him. It was like visiting a fucking sage or something. Yeah. Yeah. In San Quentin, the sage of San Quentin. It was very good. So yeah. We don't have to go as that far. We can get it now. Yeah. We can.
Yeah.
We don't have to have a flamboyant, incredibly fucking terribly to live through bottom. We can learn now. There is a solution, and see what the hell has defeated you. Drinking and using was ways and the means of something. It wasn't. That's not what has defeated us. That's how we were defeated through that. But it's this idea of self. Yeah. And if maybe, everyone is going to have a sense of this self, but maybe put in a more appropriate size. Yeah. And how it gets to that more appropriate size is loss of interest in it. Yeah. It's just that simple. And this program leads to that event. Page 63, losing interest in self. Yeah, there you go. So, well, that's beautiful. Thanks, Mickey. And thanks, everyone. I'm going to start saying goodbye. Hey, Michael, are you going to be here later, too? We got a 4:30 meeting on Pacific time. I don't know what you call it, but it's another meeting. Mickey, as always, thank you. Kerry, always.
Thanks, Paul.
Terry from Camarillo. There's Tom in Denver, Miak, Jose C, Everett, Steve, San Diego. Thank you, Steve. Joseph.
You're welcome.
We got Miss Volkman, Kathleen. Kathleen will be coming here soon, I think, to the Northern California. We got Dana, John M in Scotland. It's a pleasure. Oliver, Roman Mueller. Say hello to Barbara, Roman. Nice to see you. Nikki, Darren, Dennis, Mike M. Let's see, we got Lindy, Annette, Fletch, Christine and Kona. We got a phone number. We got Lebowski. Always nice to see Lebowski. We got Nina. Oh, yeah, great pleasure to see Nina here. Axel, Gail, our Pink Cloud resident. Nice to see you, Gail. Dennis, Nikki, Oliver. Let's see. I think, who is this? I think it's Axel, Kathleen. Hey, thank you. See you guys soon. Yep.